As you've come to expect from the series, there's some absolutely crazy weapons you can find in Saints Row. There's a Saint-styled Keyblade, an explosive Pinata launcher and way more, so let's talk about some of the best and craziest weapons in Saints Row and of course how to get them as well. A like on the video would really help us out, subscribe for more Saints Row content and let's go! One of the crazy weapons you might remember from the previews is the Thrustbuster. This rocket-propelled football sticks to an enemy and after a short delay launches them into the air and makes them disappear Team Rocket style. You can make this even better after unlocking the Thrustbuster signature ability, which is super easy to unlock by simply using the weapon. This ability will spring a leash from the initial target to other enemies that are close, meaning they'll get dragged along for the ride as well. The Thrustbuster can also be attached with a melee attack and it also works on vehicles, just be careful not to blow yourself up. And the way you unlock this amazing weapon is simple. You'll have to build the Reboot venture from your Empire table. This one is part of the second set of unlocks, which means you'll need to reach Empire level 2 before you can access it. Doing so requires you to complete the Drawing Heat mission, which might not show up in your mission log straight away, but just keep playing until it does, after which you simply need to check off the mission requirements, like building 3 criminal ventures and then complete the mission. After that, you'll have unlocked the Reboot, you just need to save up $100,000 to build it. And then you can test prototype equipment for this tech startup company, which you then get to keep after. And yeah, the Thrustbuster is one of these rewards, but your first mission for the Reboot venture will actually reward you with a hoverboard. It's pretty cool, although its controls feel a bit floaty in my opinion, but you can perform a slam attack after jumping by pressing LT or L2. But way more exciting is the unlock from the second mission, the Quantum Aperture. This is a skill that for the cost of 2 flow points creates a screen in front of you that if fired through will make bullets pass through any obstacle as well as make them deal more damage. And the damage increase is pretty nice and noticeable, as you can see here when comparing the damage with and without the screen, but the fact that your bullets now pass through walls is what makes this ability probably the best in the game in my opinion. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a simple wall or an entire building, you can hit an enemy anywhere on the map, which is made even easier by the fact that the Quantum Aperture also highlights enemy outlines in red. So yeah, you're gonna want to do this mission as quickly as possible as you want this amazing ability in your arsenal. And then the final mission for the Reboot venture will unlock the Thrustbuster for you, which you find under the special weapon slot at your weapon stash in your home base or at a friendly fire store. And speaking of special, there's a really interesting melee weapon that you can get pretty early on if you know where to look. The Pagnus Sanctus, which is Latin for Holy Fist of God, is a melee weapon that consists of 2 boxing gloves that you shoot off and then pull back. And while it looks like you're dual wielding pistols, this is actually a melee weapon, meaning you have unlimited ammo. The damage and range on it are actually surprisingly decent. The only real downside here is that aiming can be a bit trickier than with a normal weapon because of the slower projectiles. But apart from that, this one is definitely worth picking up early, which is easy enough to do as you'll need to complete 2 hidden histories, which are the side activities where you need to look for tourist info boards in an area. There's one big one that will start off the activity and then you need to find 4 smaller ones to complete it. There's no time limit here or anything, so it's really easy to complete, and the ones you need to do in particular are the St. Thomas Corvaccio over here on the map in East Providencia and the Meeker Square one that is located over here in Old Town West. After that, the Pagnus Sanctus is available from your weapon stash at any moment. And while those earlier weapons can definitely pack a punch, you'll get some of the craziest weapons much later in the game. But the main story and some late game side missions reward some incredible weapons, so let's have a look at those. First up is the focus rifle, which you might recognize from some of the martial enemies in the game that also use it. It's a very strong single target weapon which you unlock after completing the main story mission Non-Compete Cause. The main mechanic with this weapon is that you need to hold down the trigger to focus the energy into a beam, as quick firing the weapon will result in very low damage at short range. As soon as you can see a straight line coming from the barrel of the gun though, you can release the trigger to shoot a single high damage projectile that can easily kill any enemy even on a single body shot. You also don't have to reload this weapon and the ammo capacity on it is pretty high, so really the only downside is the slight wind up before each shot. Other than that, the focus rifle is an absolute monster. But if you want something with a bit more bang, there's also an AT rocket launcher that you unlock by playing the story. You do unlock it very late after the high noon story mission, but you also immediately get the potato cannon visual mod for it if you prefer a more homemade look, plus it shoots actual potato potatoes instead of rockets. Don't worry, they'll still explode though. Either way, this AT rocket launcher is a lot better than the regular rocket launcher you unlock early on because it carries a magazine of 4 rockets which you can fire in pretty rapid succession. You also have a higher overall ammo capacity, so if you need a weapon to destroy vehicles quickly, this is pretty much as good as it's going to get. But it will of course work fine against enemies too. And as cool as that potato cannon visual mod is though, the best visual mod is unlocked by continuing the venture quests, so the ones that will level up your empire to the next tier. One of the final missions, the one called Good Cop, Bad Cop, will reward you with the Saintsblade, which is effectively a Keyblade styled with Saints iconography. Surprisingly enough, it's a visual mod for the pickaxe melee weapon, but it really changes much more than just the look. For starters, there's a unique sound effect when hitting enemies, which sounds like this. Plus there's these particles that jump out on a hit too, which is definitely another nod to Kingdom Hearts. If you want to make the most of this weapon, of course upgrade it, but also use it in combination with the Berserker skill, which buffs your melee damage and is unlocked at level 16. When you complete Good Cop, Bad Cop, you will also unlock the final 3 criminal ventures. They are pretty expensive, costing $1.6 million to build each, but there's one in particular that's very much worth your time, which is Let's Pretend. Completing this venture rewards you with an amazing weapon, and it's not that difficult either. Each venture mission consists of 2 parts. One has you scouting a potential heist location by taking pictures of security measures, which will show up with a little marker on your HUD if you're inside the search area when you're close enough, so they're not that hard to find. The second part has you playing Getaway Driver, so shoot incoming reinforcements while your buddies perform the heist and then drive away with the police on your tail to complete the mission. 5 of these will do it, after which you want to return to the venture location and talk with the NPC there to complete the venture, after which you will have access to the Pinata launcher. And I honestly thought it was going to be a bit of a joke weapon, but turns out it's actually incredibly powerful. It fires an explosive pinata that lures enemies in, and after an enemy touches it, it will explode, dealing massive area damage, often enough to take out entire groups with a single pinata. Unlike other launchers, it's definitely more suited for dealing with enemies rather than vehicles, but like I said, you will pretty much only need 1 projectile for an entire group of enemies. Pinatas will also spawn a bit of cash if their explosion hits an enemy, but only a little bit, so it's more of a nice little extra. But yeah, overall, I did not expect this weapon to be as strong as it is. It's really powerful. But if you want your weapon unlocks to be a bit more straightforward, you can of course just buy some new ones from a friendly fire store. And Jordan actually checked these out and found one in particular that's really nice, so I'll let him do the talking.
Yeah, you actually get to use it during the Boot Hill main mission, which I really like, by the way. And it turns out that you can also buy this MDI 39M 6-gun pistol at the shop for $30,000. Of course, spend the money to upgrade the damage, and then you don't really have to worry about aiming anymore, as these green projectiles automatically go to nearby targets. Sure, they have to be in range, but you can still shoot pretty far next to them to do some damage, which kinda nice. But the best part about this gun is that you can also very easily hit the enemies while firing from the hip. Like, I never really used this feature in Saints Row, but you could argue that this is the best way to use this pistol. So totally recommend it. Again, easy to get. It only costs you $30,000. Subscribe for way more Saints Row content if you haven't already. A like on the video would really help me out. And totally check out our other Saints Row tips video by clicking on the screen. And we got way more guides coming your way. So we will speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.